I wasn't going to make a video on this subject because I thought it was rather boring, but the Brent Spiner clone just uploaded, or one of his co-conspirators just uploaded a video to Twitter, and I'm going to be commenting on the audio version of that video. I will have a link to that video underneath this video. One of my fans asked me, how can I tell when I'm dealing with Jesuits in my life? And when I saw that question, which was posted underneath my last YouTube video, I thought I need to go ahead and comment on this video that I watched of the Brent Spiner clone and how I could tell it was the Brent Spiner clone. So let's go ahead and run the video. I'll comment as it's on.
But we need to do more. So any help with respect to fundraising,
okay,
help with respect to
the eyes.
You could find
this is a Jesuit.
Media. You can check
her eyes are shown no compassion. She's kind of the
and I think these are the ways in which
let me see if I can get this in closer.
Today can get involved.
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. Definitely
okay,
a lot
what you
really
need to do is
ways
look at the eyes of the person.
And hopefully, like you said, this is just
and there's usually an arrogance to the eyes,
and we can find and figure out more
and
they
they give away that what they're saying is a lie.
Thank you so much for joining us.
The eyes are, you need to study the eyes.
Thank you so much for having me.
And they usually have a very shallow, glib smile.
And that's another act of kindness done.
Jesuits are like that because they think everybody's stupid. So they think you're not going to pay attention to the little details and figure out that they're lying. Okay, here's another one. He's lying. And when you look at his eyes, he's kind of like he's kind of swaggering as he's talking. And he looks like, he says, the expression on his face is like, oh goody, we're going to get that Gail Kornsuler with this video. We're going to prove she's crazy. You can see it written all over his face. It's like, I can't wait to slaughter Gail with this video. You can see it written all over his face.
Jewish family in Houston, Texas, he became active in drama from a young age and went on to become a stage actor, appearing in a number of Broadway and off-Broadway plays.
As he's saying this, he looks so glib and happy.
Recognizable role as Lieutenant
Commander Data. It's like he's thinking, I can't wait to get the $1 million. Loree McBride's going to pay me for doing this video. I'm going to get rich.
Brent appeared alongside the legendary cast.
You can see it written all over his face.
Marina Satis,
the key to spotting a Jesuit is you got to understand that Loree McBride pays these people a lot of money to do her bidding, and you can see greed written all over their face. It's like this look like, I'm going to be famous. I'm going to be famous. I'm important now. You can see it in his face. It's written all over his face. I'm important now. I'm a big shot because I get to interview a celebrity. Oh, the Jesuits are so obsessed with being a celebrity.
Which, if you haven't seen yet, is available to stream right now on Amazon Prime UK. We still can't believe that such a cultural icon is joining us this evening.
Listen to how they're flattering. Jesuits love to flatter each other. Here, this is one Jesuit introducing another Jesuit, the Brent Spiner clone.
Brent Spiner. Welcome, Brent. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, here he is playing humble and humble celebrity. Eat your humble pie, you fake.
Okay, then I'll call you Jamie. Hi, Jamie. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Good. I'm fine, thank you.
Oh God, look at this!
I noticed you said arguably.
You're not a very good actor, Brent Spiner clone. I can tell this whole thing's a performance.
Star Trek. Was somebody arguing about that?
I think to all of us,
the Brent Spiner clone has this look written all over his face, like, oh, I'm gonna get that Gail Kornsuler.
All right. Well, you said arguably, so I figured you'd argued with somebody about it, and that's what you came up with.
Well, I'm sure our CEO Neil has probably had an argument with a couple of people.
He's got this shallow, happy, glib look to his face that is typical Jesuit expression, folks. If there's a shallow, happy, glib look to their face, it's a Jesuit.
We have to celebrate 25 years. We've been boosting positivity and keeping children and their families active and healthy.
They don't give a flip about those children. It's all fake. You can tell by looking at their face.
Since lockdown
the look on his face shows nothing about compassion for the suffering. It's all fake. You can see it.
What made you say yes
He's
to
just
joining us
thrilled.
this evening?
This person,
I mean,
Loree
really
McBride,
just
is going to
that,
make this
that
nobody
Neil
into a
pestered me
star
until I
because
said yes, finally.
he's interviewing the famous
Not
Brent
because I have any
Spiner.
problem
Oh, the
doing it. It's
Jesuits are
just that
so obsessed with being
my,
famous.
My least favorite thing in the world is talking about myself.
Liar.
So, I was reluctant to do it initially when he asked me.
Liar. You can see it written all over his face. He's lying.
I get very bored with it, but because I already know all about myself.
When you look at his eyes, you can
So,
tell he
anyway,
loves the
you say
attention.
this has
He's
been going on for
lying.
125 years.
Yeah, the Jewish Lads and Girls Brigade, the amazing
Okay,
organization.
he's going to play Jewish because he knows that I've been telling everybody that the
Do you
real
think,
Brent
like,
Spiner is a
125
student
years ago,
at
they weren't
Dallas
building a
Theological
Zoom like this,
Seminary.
were they?
For some reason, I don't think they were. No.
Yeah. Well, so they met in a room or something at that point, right?
Yeah, I probably didn't have to socially distance back then either.
He's playing
Well,
dumb.
yeah,
This
you're
whole,
probably
you can
right.
tell by
Actually, they
looking
didn't,
at it that
unless
this
it
whole
was,
thing was set up.
1918.
They
And,
probably rehearsed in
something
advance
creative.
for this.
So Jamie, what else? What do you got going?
But you got to
Let's,
remember that the
what do you
Jesuit
want to know?
clones, when they
So
they
we're all
get all
about
the
acts of kindness
memories of
here
the
at
real
JLGB.
person.
We always ask our
The
guests
the
what
Jesuits
they've
have
been
the
doing to help
technology to
others.
get
And
the
of course, you
memories
joining
of the
us
real
tonight, as you said,
person.
you don't like to speak about yourself. You
Right.
joining us is a
Liar.
massive act of
These
kindness. But
both
during
of
this
these people
difficult
are
time,
loving it.
has
It's
there been
written
something
all
a
over
bit more
their
personal
face.
that you've been
They're
doing
loving all
to help
this.
others? I hear that your mum turns 94 last week, and you call her
Yep.
every day.
Okay, now he's
Happy
got to
birthday to
talk
your mum as
about the
well.
mother. This is
Well,
to
thank
make
you.
him
Yeah,
appear
I call her
legit.
every day because she's 94, and we're in a position
Sylvia's
where
mother is
I'm in
actually a born-again
California, she's in
Christian now, and
Texas,
she lives, I
and
mean,
I
not
may never
Sylvia's
see her
mother.
again.
His
Who
mother's name is
knows?
Sylvia.
So
She
I
lives
feel like I
on
have to
Church of
make
Gale,
really
and
close
she's a
contact
Christian
with her.
now.
But
But
aside from
she
that,
keeps a low
my
profile.
biggest act of kindness, I think, is
I'm sure she
is
wouldn't
to
appreciate
avoid
what the
slapping
Brent
someone
Spiner
who's not
clone
wearing
is
a
doing to
mask,
her son.
in public. You know, I see them, I want to hit them, and I don't. And that is my act of kindness.
I think that we all
Oh,
would
such
appreciate that.
fake
I
humility.
wouldn't
This
like
guy
that.
is so
I do
stuck
wear
on
my mask.
himself.
Good man, good man, as well you should. For right now, it's the sensible thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So
I think so.
yeah, let's go back to the very beginning. We've got a couple of questions about your childhood.
Yeah.
What were the youth
Well,
opportunities?
of course he's going to know about Brent's childhood. He gets all the memories of the real person. Whenever the Jesuits make a clone, they give him all the
I never actually
memories.
counted, but there were quite a few in Texas. My
Now,
grandfather.
you can tell, the other way you can tell these are
Russia.
Jesuits is because the whole
Both
thing
my
is
grandparents
designed
did,
to
but
make
my
Brent look
grandmother
legit.
and my
You can
grandfather
tell.
on my mother's side came
He's
from,
actually kind of on the
different
defensive because
parts
I
of
believe
what
that
was
I am
considered
U.S.
Russia at the
president,
time. I'm not sure it
and
is
I've been
now.
mentioning that the real
I
Brent
think some of
Spiner plays a role in my government.
grandfather was
And he's
was
like, oh
from,
no, we got to do something to
Vilnius,
make
which
Gail
is, I
appear
think,
crazy. I'm the
Lithuania
real
right now.
Brent.
And,
No, you're
or
not,
some- I'm not sure,
clone.
Belarus or something. I'm not sure. But it was in that area. And my grandmother came from Odessa. And my other grandparents came from Romania.
You might say,
But
oh, I'm
they
so
all
impressed. It's the real
basically,
Brent. He knows
traveled
Brent's
the same
history. He's got his
route to
memories.
America, which
Da-da,
was,
dodo bird.
by boat to Galveston, Texas, which was a port at the time.
Actually,
It
this
was
is
still
all
a port,
pretty
but it
correct
was,
about Brent's history,
was a
but that doesn't
port,
mean
and
it's
they
not the
had
clone.
family
You got to
that
remember,
was already
clones
there,
get the
distant
memories
family,
of the real
probably
person.
distant cousins
The
or
way you
something
can
like
tell
that.
it's the clone is
And,
look at his eyes.
and they
He's
sponsored
loving
that,
this.
which is what
Also,
happened in those days.
another
You
way
had
you
to
can
have
tell
somebody
it's a
to
clone
sponsor
is
you
because they
before
will
you
be
could come into the
obsessed
country.
whenever they're
So they
doing
came
something,
in,
when they're up to
into
no good. You
Galveston,
look at their
Texas.
eyes. They
And,
got this glib, happy look to
from
their
there, they made
face.
their way to Houston,
And usually they
eventually
have
had
an
kids
agenda.
and a
And you can
business,
kind
and
of
then
tell
I
that
guess,
they're trying to help out Loree McBride. So
and,
if what he's saying or doing
what else
helps
would you like to
out
know about
Loree
that? Anything?
McBride, that's another way to tell it's a
So
clone.
obviously, all
So
of us
why this
involved here at
obsession
JLGB
with
tonight are
everything he
volunteers,
talks
and we
about?
work, or we don't work,
Everything he
but
talks
we volunteer
about
at JLGB,
is
which a youth
designed to make him
organisation.
appear
Did you
legit.
have any
They don't
youth
talk about
organisations or
anything
youth
other
clubs
than
that you
stuff
went
that
to?
makes him appear legit.
Yeah,
That's another way you can tell
there
it's a
was,
clone because
well, I
they're
went to Hebrew
obsessed
school. It
with
wasn't exactly a youth
making themselves
organization, but I guess it
appear
was in a
legit.
way. And I went to Hebrew school until and then I was bar mitzvahed. And I could
See,
actually do
why all this
my bar
emphasis
mitzvah
on his
speech for you
history?
right now, if you like.
It's actually
I
rather
haven't done it.
boring.
I haven't done it in
But
a
you know
few
why?
years now,
You know
but
why it's
I
so
can still
boring?
remember-
Because most people don't really
I can
care
still
about
remember.
all this
Would you
stuff.
like to hear it?
We've got time for a couple, like maybe.
But see, he cares about this. He says, "I got to talk about all this to show that I'm the real Brent, because only the real Brent would know all this stuff." No, that's not true, clone. Not if you can get the memories.
No,
when
I'm kidding.
you get all of Brent's
I can just do
memories,
the
when they make a
opening for
clone,
you,
they give you
what
all
I
the
said
memories of the
was-
real person.
And I think the kids who are watching this right now will relate to this. February 2nd, 1949.
Da-da, that's
was an
Brent's
occasion which I
birthday,
could
of
hardly
course.
remember.
I'm the real Brent because
But
I know my
13 years
birthday.
later, tonight,
That's
as I
that's
stand
not
on
his
this
birth.
pulpit,
This is not the clone's birthday. He
remembrance
was
of this
probably born
occasion
like November
will be an
something,
everlasting light in my life.
2019 or
And I don't remember
depends on when the
anything
last
after
clone got
that.
executed.
So much for being
you know, they
everlasting
probably
light.
created another
But,
one. He's
I went to
probably
Hebrew
not even
school
more
for
than a
many
couple
years,
months
and I
old.
continued on in Hebrew school, and I joined
They use accelerated
AZA
growth
over
hormones on
there,
the clones to
American
age them.
Scientists Association.
Oh, and another thing that he's got
There's
age
social
spots
clubs.
all over his
There
skin.
was BBG, which
They
was
really stand
the
out.
girls, and
Loree
AZA was the
McBride, you're
boys,
going a little too far in
chapters,
trying to make
and
this
we had
clone look legit.
dances,
You have to give him all
it
these
was
age
it was
spots.
basically a social
You know,
organization,
we
so
know
it
your
wasn't natural.
accelerated growth hormones are good, but
So
you
we
don't have to
have
make it
AZA
this
here, but I
obvious.
think it's called BBYO over here.
Oh, this interview
why-
is a Jesuit top
Yeah,
to
it's just
bottom,
another
man. Look at
Jewish
his eyes.
organisation. So
He's
you
so
don't-
happy. He's thinking all the money he's going to get from
Next
Loree
question, which was,
McBride
did you
for
have a
doing
mitzvah?
this.
And that amazing rendition of how you started. If you don't
I
necessarily know
mean,
how
he's
it
jumping
finished,
around
but
looking super
I'd
happy,
like
like,
to hear it
oh,
again."
goody, I love making Gail look like the crazy
Okay,
lady.
I won't do it.
did you go on any summer camps, and did your Jewish identity shape you into the person that you are today?
I to a degree, I suppose. I mean, I'm not sure what shapes us into anything. I mean, I'm not sure I'm shaped, frankly.
Oh, yes, you're shaped. You're Loree McBride's cuck.
I've never thought about that. I'm sure, my grandparents and their.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and make a screenshot of this guy. I'm telling you, man, he is such a fake. You might say, so right away I can tell this whole setup is Jesuit because he's just such a fake. You know, and because the subject of the whole thing is designed to make him look legit. Everything, no exceptions, everything they talk about is designed to make him appear legit. It's all fake. There's first, I already listened to the interview. He talks about his son about 4 or 5 times. Like most celebrities like to keep their children private. Of course, he didn't mention his name, but and then he talks about his history. Everything he's talking about is designed to make himself appear legit. So Jesuits are very obsessive compulsive. They usually have an agenda, which is they're trying to destroy somebody that is their enemy. I am the Loree McBride's #1 enemy. So the mere fact that she's obsessed with that he's so obsessed with talking about everything that would make me look crazy is a dead giveaway. We're dealing with the clones. And the expression on their face, they're so happy when they're doing this. It's like, oh, we're going to kill Gail Korchulak. This will make her look crazy for sure. Nope. Your mere obsession with all your talking points where you stay on subjects which are designed to make me look crazy proves you're a clone. The real Brent would not be obsessed with talking about stuff that is designed to make you look crazy.
And all of my aunts and uncles and relatives had some effect on me, as they do on most people.
You liar.
They were all
you
really
didn't
fine
grow up with them.
people,
You
and I'm
came out
sure
of a cloning lab. You're probably
they
not
guided
more
me
than
in
a
ways
year
that have
old.
been beneficial to my life and to making me who I am right now.
Loree
and they just
McBride
happen to be
made you who
Jewish.
you are
So
right
I
now, you
suppose
clone.
that played into it as well.
Definitely. So your career, you are an actor. Did you always want to be an actor? Was there ever
doing
another
a
plan?
sorry
Like,
job of playing
your
dumb.
uncle wanted you to be a doctor, but you were more into clowning around in school
Oh,
pretending
now
to be
they got to
Jerry
talk
Lewis.
about how he couldn't be a
that's
doctor.
true. No,
Because
I
the
only
real
wanted to
Brent
be an
Spiner
actor.
is a doctor.
I did.
He went to medical
try
school
to
in the
appease him for a
around
while. My
2002 to 2006.
He was a terrific man. He actually taught us every other Sunday for like 3 years when I was in middle school, junior high school.
And that's why Brent
He taught us
got
pre-med
accepted to
on
UCLA
Sundays.
Medical School.
And we would
Unlike
go over
the
his house. There were
clone.
about 10 of us. And we learned
Oh my God, he's
pre-med.
got age spots
So
all over
by
his
the
skin.
time I
Brent,
got
do you
into
have
high
age spots all
school,
over your skin now?
biology classes.
Or is this exaggerated?
I never
I
bought a
think
book. I never opened
I
a
think
book.
he
I
might
knew
have
it.
more age spots
And,
than the real Brent.
It was
And
quite a wonderful
Loree's
thing,
doing
but
this on purpose
he
to make
wanted
him
all of
appear
us to be
legitimately
doctors, and
old,
so he
like he wasn't grown old
persuaded
by
us to,
accelerated
get
growth
jobs. I had a
hormones.
job at the Houston Medical Center, which is one of the great medical centers of the world, and I worked as an orderly.
This is true of the real Brent. And Brent did
Michael
say in the
Baker, who
1990s
was
that he has said he would never be a
eminent heart
doctor.
surgeon.
But he's
created
changed
the
his
heart
mind.
transplant.
He
And,
decided to become a doctor because the Jesuits make
that
me
was kind
sick
of
all the
miserable
time.
for me because I really didn't want to be there.
That is
It
true,
wasn't
but you
really
weren't
specific
there,
to
Brent
doctor.
Spiner
So,
clone. The real Brent was there,
I
not
much more
you,
interested in
liar.
playing a doctor on
You weren't
television than
there.
I was in being a doctor.
You just have
Did the
Brent's
knowledge that
memories, so
have
you
then when
remember that.
if you played doctor, did
Yeah.
that knowledge?
Oh, this
Did-
clone, look,
well,
this clone interviewer,
Did you-
look at
I'm
the
sorry, I missed the last couple
expression
of
on
words.
his
It muted
face.
out all of a
He's
sudden.
too happy to be legit,
So
man. He's a
obviously
Jesuit,
you learned a
top
lot
to
about being a
bottom.
doctor and all the information.
He's
bio-
thinking, oh, I'm gonna get.
so when
If you
played
did,
the
if you
doctor in your
arrested
acting
this
career,
guy
did that
and checked out his memories and asked him if he
No,
knows who
none of
Gail
it.
Cord Schuler is, you better believe your
Because the
bottom
doctors
dollar
I've
he knows who I
played have
am.
all been kind
That's
of,
his whole purpose for doing this
eccentric and
interview,
extreme,
is
and,
to make me look crazy.
most of the doctors I met were very sober and very, serious. And I played those
Oh
kind of
yes,
crazy
you
doctors,
weren't
so
even there,
it
clone,
didn't
you
really matter
liar.
at all.
You
Oh,
have- you
look at
have
his
an
smile
incredibly
when he says,
talented
and now
and
the clone's
inspirational teacher
smiling.
for drama.
He's got this look in his
Pickett,
eyes like,
who
I'm
helped
gonna get
start
that
careers
Gail
of
Cord
a huge group of
Schuler.
actors and directors.
Yeah.
What was it that made him so successful, and what was the top piece of advice for acting or just life in general that you received that you now pass on to others?
Well,
Oh,
I think,
we gotta
I'm not
hear
sure that
some
that
deep
piece of
advice from
information
the
came
shallow
him,
Brent
but I will
Spiner
say
clone.
His name was Cecil Pickett.
Yes,
he was
it's
a
true.
phenomenal
Cecil Pickett
teacher
was
and a
Brent's high
wonderful
school
man.
drama teacher.
My
Because you've got
class
his
in
memories,
in high school,
clone.
my drama class,
But it's too
there were
bad
a
that
lot
the
of
memories
people in
don't
that
work for
class
you.
in
I bet
Houston,
you're a
Texas, who've
sorry
gone on to,
actor.
do a
I
lot of
can,
work
I mean,
in,
I can see right through you.
both
Right, he's
of the
acting
great
right
brothers
now, and he's
Randy and
not
Dennis
doing a very
Quaid
good job,
were in
by the
my
way.
class.
Look at his
There was a
eyes.
guy named Tommy Schlamme, who is now the president of
Boy,
Screen
those
Actors Guild,
age
and he,
spots
along
really
with Aaron Sorkin,
stand
created
out
the
on his
West Wing
skin. There's too
series.
many of them, man.
And,
He's so
there was
determined to
young
make
woman named
himself look
Marianne
legit, he put
Williamson that was
extra
in my
age
class.
spots
She
on
ran
his
for
skin.
president of the
That's
United
another way you can
States,
tell about
for
these
the
Jesuits. They
Democratic,
go a little bit too
nomination. She didn't get it,
far
but,
when they try to make
it was
themselves
an
look
illustrious
legit.
class. And he had a very good nose for talent, Mr. Pickett did. And if he thought you had it, he would.
I bet
He would
if that
nurture it
Mr.
and try to
Pickett
bring
was
it out.
alive,
But,
he'd be able to tell you're a clone.
I think what he gave all of
Clone.
us, at least in my case, what he gave me most of all was a sense that I had something to offer. Which I think
You
is a
have
very
the only
important-
thing you have to offer is being Loree McBride's
think that
cuck
people can
and
have
helping her to
talent,
kill
but unless
everybody with her
someone
stinking
says to
germ
them,
bombs.
You have talent. You can make people really happy or have
Look at the guy's
experiences
eyes,
by watching
man.
you. You should pursue that.
You
Once you have
know,
somebody
a
who does
clone's
that,
eyes are dead. There's no
some
no
people
feeling
never
there.
Find their way there.
There's
Now,
no
let me
feeling in his
say,
eyes. The clone's eye,
piece of
you can tell
advice
that. Look
I
at
would
the
give, and
clone's
this
emotional,
did
the
not come from
facial
my teacher as
expressions.
much as from
Their
my
emotion is
experience.
cold. They're
And I think every
sociopaths. They're
actor I know,
psychopaths.
successful
So you
actor
can
I
see
know
a
would say
coldness
this,
there.
that
There's no
uh,
empathy.
if there's anything else
There's
you
nothing
wanna
on
do,
in his
if you're thinking
eyes.
about being an
He's
actor,
talking,
say, okay, well,
but his
I'd like
eyes
to be an actor,
show
but if that doesn't
like a
work out,
glib,
I'll be
shallow
an
happiness.
accountant.
Nothing there. His eyes are
be an
dead
accountant.
emotionally.
Don't even try to be an actor. If there's anything else, you want
There
to
is one emotion
do
that
that
I'm
other
seeing
thing.
out of his eyes.
because
Arrogance.
There's
Arrogance.
so much rejection.
The real
And,
Brent, when you look at the real Brent's eyes, it's kind of like genuine humility
that you're
and
going to
warmth.
face, that you have
But
to
the
be really strong
clone,
to be able to survive.
arrogance,
until,
shallow,
if you're
glib.
lucky, you get a decent break. So I would
You?
suggest to anybody.
Everything you get's been
If
given
there's
you on a
anything
silver
else in the
platter,
world you wanna
clone.
do,
You didn't
do
drive
that.
in a
Don't
taxi
do
like the
that.
real Brent did,
Now,
even
if
though
you
you got his
can't
memories. You're a
think of
liar.
anything else you'd rather do, if
You're
you
probably
think
not
you
more than a
can't be
year old.
happy doing anything else, then you of course must do what you think will make you happy.
Oh,
Thank you.
look
I
at
think
his
for lots
face.
of our viewers, we're
He's
coming up to
so
the ages
happy
where we
doing
have to
this
make these
interview. You can
decisions,
see
whether
it,
it's
man.
for our GCSE
He's
exams,
just,
for
he's
A-levels,
just,
for university.
he's just having a
Some kids
party.
even
He's
younger
thinking
than
about
that,
me the whole time he's
and
doing this,
you're-
and
it's
probably thinking
amazing
about the
advice. I
bonus
just
money.
to
I
think,
bet Loree
do
pays
I
this
want to do this? Do I
clone
really want to do that? How
good
much do I want
money
it, and how much do I
being
work
this
for it?
fake. She says the
Exactly.
better job you
Yeah,
do
so
at faking
we
Brent,
could
the more
help you
money
on
I'll
that
pay you.
without asking you a couple of
Oh
star
God,
questions.
he just
So to
smiled.
help me ensure
The
that we ask
smile looked
all of
so
the best possible
glib,
questions, I would
arrogant,
like to introduce
proud.
my co-host for
That's
this
how you can
evening.
tell, folks.
You can call him
Glib,
Samuel.
arrogant,
It's our
proud,
resident sci-fi
happy,
expert, Samuel.
and it's a
Hi,
real
Samuel.
shallow
How are you?
happiness.
Hi, Jamie.
You know what
good.
clones
How
look
are you?
like?
Samuel.
Imagine that
Very
somebody
good.
came up to
Excellent.
you and said, I'm going to
Right,
give
thank
you
you,
$1
Jamie.
million
And, thank you,
if
Brent,
you
for
do
joining
what I
me.
want. Well, that's what
Look
they
forward
all
to
look
the
like. They all look like they
interview
just
this
got paid $1 million
Oh.
to do this.
Don't be
If you-
honored.
A few questions from me before we go to the audience.
He's thinking, I can retire for
so
life now.
How did
I'm going to
how
get
did you
so
get the
much
role
money
of
for
Data?
doing this, for
How did
making
it come
Gail
about,
Court
and
Court
what is
Shooter
the
look
character
crazy.
based
Oh
on?
man, I won't
And,
have to work a
did
day in
it
my
start
life now. I'm
from
going to be
a
rich,
passion for
rich,
watching
rich,
the
rich.
original
You can
Star
see it
Trek?
written all over his
Wait a minute,
face.
was that a question?
All the interviewers are
That was
are
many questions, all
Jesuits.
wrapped into one.
This is the clone. He's thinking.
He's
You can tell
if
he's
you
got
started
dollar
about it, I got
bills
it.
in his
Absolutely.
eyeballs.
Well, I had an agent.
Oh, by the way,
like
the Jew
most actors
clones.
do,
He's a
because
Jew
you can't
clone,
get
by
any
the way.
work
They're
without
all
an
greedy.
agent.
All they think about is
I had an
money.
agent, and
They
he
dream
said to
about
me,
money
"They're
from the
doing a new
time they
Star
wake
Trek
up to the
series,
time they go to
and
bed. In
why don't
fact,
you read
Rule
it and see if
13
there's anything in it that
captures them
interests
by
you?"
putting money on the
So
road.
I
She'll
read
she'll
the
drop
script, and I
$100
thought,
bills
"Oh,
all over
this,
the road, and they'll
android
go after the
character
money
could
and
be
pick it all up,
interesting."
and then she
So
arrests them and
I
gets
said, "Yeah,
them.
I'll go for that." And I met with
It's because
a
they're all
woman by the name of Judy
greedy.
Lowry,
The
who's-
Jew clones, all
was
they
the
do is think
casting
about
director.
money from
She's
the
a
time they
wonderful,
wake up to the
wonderful
time they
casting
go to bed.
director. And
so
she,
one way you can
she
tell you're
said, "I
dealing
think
with a
the
clone
producers
is
need to
because
see
they're
you." And I
obsessed
said,
with
"Okay."
money. You're
I
saying,
read again for the producers.
you might
and
say, well,
I
how can you tell
auditioned,
he's
I
obsessed with
think,
money? Hey,
probably
you
6
think he's doing this
times,
for free?
and then they
You think
gave
the
him
Jew
up.
clone, this Jew clone would do this for free?
And,
He's getting paid
did you
mega
watch the
bucks
original Star Trek
from
as a
his
child?
wife, Loree McBride, to
Was
do
there,
this.
there was an original Star Trek?
The one with William Shatner, Leonard Nimoy.
Oh,
William
come on,
Shatner.
clone. Even Brent would have
Oh
known
yeah,
this.
William Shatner. Sure, I remember him. Yeah,
I think he's
course.
joking. I'm joking,
you know
you
what, I
stupid
watched
gal.
it,
Can't you tell? Yeah,
I
your
didn't
joke
watch it
is
in
not
its
very
first
good.
run.
Your joke's not very
I think I
good.
watched it when it was on in
Your
the
jokes are
afternoon when I
not
was in
funny.
college.
The real Brent's
My
jokes are
friend
funny.
Stevie
Your
Murray and I would
jokes
come
are
home from
not
school
funny.
And,
You
we
need to
would
go to
watch the
joke
Star
school,
Trek
clone.
episode, and we really enjoyed it. Yeah.
And what was the basis for Data? What was the premise behind the android character that we know and love today?
Well, I think I don't know that there was a. What did you say? What was the what? What was the
Premise
idea?
behind.
He's
The
faking
premise.
like this whole thing was
I
not
don't-
set up in
I
advance,
don't
which
know.
it was.
I really don't, 'cause
He's
I didn't
playing
write
dumb
it.
on. He's playing dumb on purpose.
I just played
Oh,
the part.
you
know?
knew
I mean, I got
you
a
knew in
script,
advance exactly
and I
which
kinda tried
questions he
to,
was going to ask you. This
imagine
whole thing's a
this
setup.
character. You know, I was lucky in the sense that
Quit playing
there weren't
dumb.
a lot
You're a
of
bad
other
actor. I
android
can see right
characters
through
on
you,
television,
man.
and so I could pretty much do anything I wanted, and people couldn't say, "Well, an android wouldn't do that," because how would they know?
Why is
So
he just
I
so
was
obsessed
free
with playing
to
dumb about
kind
these
of
questions
do
asked
whatever
him?
I wanted. And
That's
that being
another
said, we
dead
had
giveaway
really
we're
good
doing.
scripts,
He's trying to pretend
the
like this
writers
whole thing
knew,
was not a setup
sort of
in
what direction
advance.
they wanted to go,
Like he didn't.
and,
He already knows what
they
questions are
kind
going
of
to be asked
took
him.
things
I
from
bet
us,
Loree
and
gave
we
him
took
all the
things from
questions in
them, and,
advance.
we got to a point where I don't think I ever reshot a scene on the show in 7 years because they didn't like the way I played it, or anyone else for that matter.
Actually, this is probably
and,
true.
So we didn't
But
tell them
like
how
I
to
said,
write
it
the
gets
show,
all
and
of
they
the
didn't
real
tell
Brent's
us how to
memories.
act it, and
So
it all kind of melded and was very lucky and came together in a really good way.
Yeah, thank you.
The expression on his face is too
pretty
glib
sure
and
that
shallow
it
to be the
was-
real Brent.
It was a part that was quite different from any other
And
part you had played
the
prior.
glib smile on
and
this
that
interviewer,
the
he's
character
thinking
had,
dollar bills, man.
No
Oh, I'm
emotion
going to be
begin
so
with.
rich for doing
And
this.
then when he
Loree's going to
first
pay me good
had
money.
the encounter with Natasha Yar, and he had his first emotional encounter.
This interviewer is a
eventually
Jesuit.
The emotion chip was
Yeah,
found.
he's got
How
an
did your
arrogant,
acting
glib
develop
happiness
in the
to his
creature, and did
face.
you
That's a
develop any
typical
skills
Jesuit expression.
as an actor after this character development?
You know, whenever I bump
You
into
know what,
Jesuits on the road and look
I'm
at their
not
face, they
sure.
look just like this guy.
I think I came.
They
with
had
the
this
skills,
happy,
and then
glib,
they
shallow
mined
look
those
to their
skills,
face.
You know?
It's because
they saw
they're
what I
all
could do,
greedy.
and they
Loree's
started
paying them
writing
money to do
towards
this.
that. And so they thought, well, basically they gave me a lot of challenges along the way, a lot of opportunity and a lot of challenges. And that's sort of what you want as an actor. And the more I was able to do, the more
Look
they
at
gave
this
me.
clone's
And,
eyes.
So
It's cold. The expression coming out of the eyes is cold. Brent is a warm person. This clone is a cold person.
It's quite hard to remember filming every single episode.
The interviewer,
of the show,
the expression
all
out of his
170
eyes is
episodes.
arrogance
Did you have
and a glib
favorite
happiness.
Scene or a favorite episode?
And
that
he's
you
really
filmed,
I think he's
example,
thinking about his retirement
going back
right
to the
now. He knows he's going to get
1890s,
enough money from
or
Loree
playing
McBride to
Sherlock
retire
Holmes,
for life.
or when
He's
you
going to
were
be lucky
playing
if my
three
men
different
don't
characters
execute him
in the
publicly
same
on Gabriel
episode,
Chana Fox News for
playing
being a
Data,
Jesuit and
Data's
for doing
brother-in-law,
this.
and also your
Hey, you
Data
guys, when you
got
served
Dominion's son
Loree like this,
simultaneously.
did you know
All
under
of
my
those.
conspiracy law it is
All
death
of the
penalty to
above
be a
and
Loree
more.
McBride
You know,
Jesuit?
for us,
You're going to get a
we were
public
working
execution
such
on
long
Gabriel Chana
hours,
Fox
and
News for helping out that
so,
Loree McBride,
you know, we worked
that mass murderer
14, 15,
who drops
16 hours
germ
a
bombs
day,
all over the planet and kills
5 days a
billions
week for 10
and blames it on
months,
COVID when it's
of the
Candida
year, for
auris.
7 years before we even started to make the movies. And so for me, it was like, you know, you would do those long hours, and they would say, okay, that's a wrap, end of the day. But then you have to go home and learn your lines for the next day. So really, we were working.
He's doing a
ridiculous
fairly good
hours,
job
and we were
getting
all
into
very,
character right
very
now.
tired.
But now he just
as a
gave
result, it
away
kind of
that
seemed
glib
like
smile.
one
When he tries to
long
look
episode.
serious and deep, he's
There weren't-
almost
it wasn't,
convincible.
"Oh, I like that
But then when he
episode, then I like that
smiles, it's a
episode."
dead giveaway.
It
it's the
was all
clone.
one.
He looks a
It was-
little
I
bit
was
too
Data, and
happy
he was
when he's
going
doing
through
this.
7-year
Like
experience.
he
And that's
knew
sort
what
of the way it
questions
was
would be
for
asked
me.
him in
I mean, I
advance,
always
and he's
enjoyed
just
when we were
dreaming
in
about killing
what
me.
they
Oh
call the
yes, that
holodeck,
clone would love to have me dead. You
the room
see,
on the ship
I'm
as-
in the
as
way of him
roommates.
getting more money from Loree
We
McBride,
throw
and all
in
he cares about is his
anything
money.
we wanted to be.
That's the reason he's
And,
her husband, because
and
she
that was always
pays her
fun because we
husband
would do, as
good
I said,
money
Sherlock
to be a
Holmes,
fake Brent.
Western episode, and we did Robin Hood, and we did Three Musketeers, and we,
Plus,
you know, so
he
it
is
was
eating
limitless,
up being a celebrity.
the things we got to
He
do.
knows he stole Brent's career from him,
Thank you.
and
And
he's ruined
the
Brent's
cast
career.
of The Next Generation, all these years later, seem to still have an amazing bond.
Yes.
Rumor has it that you were even the best man.
Notice how they got to
both
talk
Sir
about
Patrick
everything to
Stewart
make him
and
appear
LeVar.
legit.
Um,
LeVar
and
Burton
on that
actually
point
murdered a
of
Brent,
friendship,
Loree
was it
McBride
always
clone
planned
in
at the
September
beginning that Data and
1992.
Geordie would become best friends?
And
And-
they've been
or did
using
this
a
just
LeVar
develop over
Burton
time based on your own
Jesuit
friendship
clone
that you formed
to
in person as
impersonate the
actors?
real LeVar, and I'm sure the
No,
real
it
LeVar is
was
not happy
there
about that.
From the minute we auditioned, actually the audition scene, the first thing the thing I auditioned with, the scene I auditioned with, and the scene that LeVar auditioned with was a scene between Geordie and Data. And it was a really nice scene.
Notice
It
how
was
they're
never
talking
in the
about
show,
why LeVar?
but
Why are
it
they
was what
talking
they
about
had
LeVar?
written
You know
for
why they're
the
talking about
audition. And in
LeVar?
that scene,
Because I made a movie called
they
Brent
were,
Spiner's Rape.
comrades
And in that
and
movie,
friends,
LeVar
and,
Burton
and
actually
that just
murdered one of the
continued,
Loree
and,
McBride clones.
And
Of course, it didn't help because
it
another Loree
happened to
McBride
bleed
clone
into
showed
our
up
own
around
lives,
December
you know? I mean,
1992. But they're talking about,
LeVar and I are
notice
very
how
good friends, and-
everything they
and
talk
as I
about
have with
is designed to help out
everyone
the
on the show,
Jesuits. And that's
I
how you can
mean,
tell when you're dealing with a Jesuit.
I would be
Because
hard-pressed to
everything
who
they
I'm
say
closest
and
to,
do
because I'm
is
close to
designed
all
to help out the Jesuits. That's how you can tell when you're dealing with a Jesuit.
And
Like, that's how I could tell that there was a Tulsi Gabbard clone the other day, because she was talking about how for 3 hours on contact tracing, when I just made an executive order to ban contact tracing. That was a clone, the Tulsi Gabbard clone.
So many actors in Star Trek.
Oh God, here's another Jesuit. Look at his face. He's glib, he's happy, he's arrogant, and he's thinking about all the money he's going to get from Loree McBride for doing this.
Gene Roddenberry. Although there are many nationalities of characters from Earth, Scottish, Russian, Japanese, Canadian, and even the Vulcan state, which I think is based on the Jewish priestly ritual.
I'm going to show off how legit we are. Oh my! We're going to make Gail Kortkuler-Schuler look crazy. We're so excited. We're going to be rich. We won't have to work a day in our life except to do the stuff like this, which is a piece of cake, you know. And it's worth it when we think about what she's going to pay us $1 million a piece for doing this.
We'll have to wait and see. There is, I think, in the 24th century, at least what Star Trek is looking towards is sort of acceptance of all beings. So I'm not sure. I can't answer that because, of course, I didn't write Star Trek. But let me just say one thing.
The reason you're not sure is you're not a very deep thinker, and you don't really think much about life at all. Actually, he's doing a lousy job of being Brent right now. Brent would give a much better answer than that, and it would have depth and thoughtfulness.
Telling you,
Brent is an INFJ. This clone is, I don't know what he is, you know, Myers-Briggs. I don't know what this guy is, but he's not an INFJ. He's not an introvert. He's an extrovert.
It's a good question. I don't know.
A shallow extrovert. The clone is a shallow extrovert. The real Brent Spiner is a deep, thoughtful introvert.
There'll be people in the 24th century, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I like the idea of everyone coming together.
Oh, look at his eyes, cold, arrogant, shallow, even brutal. I'm talking about the clone. This interviewer is so disgusting.
Alex Livingston.
Shallow, glib, happy. Typical clone expression.
Where are you? Come on, Alex. All right, let me ask.
And the typical clone looks like they just got paid $1 million by Loree McBride. That's how you can tell they're a clone.
I love watching Star Trek, and one of my favorite episodes.
This kid, Loree McBride, probably promised him a lot of sex toys. That's how vulgar she is. I will give you all the toys you want. Now you got to go in there and play like an innocent kid and make Gail Kortkuler look crazy. I will give you all the toys you want. Sex toys too, because I love my sex toys. Oh boy, does she.
If I could send a
Loree McBride is disgusting. She destroys the innocence of children. And she
probably say.
And she goes, "Oh, your video you made about the children's video forbidden at this part. Oh, it's so inappropriate." Yeah, Loree McBride. Well, you go in there and you rape children.
That's what I would have called myself.
And when they like it, you turn them into evil Jesuits.
Hey, Alex, let me ask you a question.
Yes, she does.
Where are you right
She's
now?
disgusting. She ruins children. And then she's such a hypocrite. Oh, Gail, so inappropriate. Yeah. She's violating YouTube's guidelines by showing children's videos that depict the horrible rape I did to Brent Spiner. Oh, excuse me, the glorious rape I did to Brent Spiner.
That's a large town in England, right?
City, I believe, but yes.
Oh, it's a city. Okay. Well, next time I'm there,
this Brent, he's enjoying himself too much. Actually, the real Brent hates doing stuff like this. He's enjoying himself too much. That's another dead giveaway. He's the clone. He's an extra. And
his father's speechless.
This kid the way they're all smiling. They all look like they just got paid $1 million. You can tell. That's how you can tell you're dealing with a clone. They look like somebody just gave them $1 million to do whatever they're doing.
Eris, how are you?
Oh, okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, of course.
Fantastic.
You know what they're all thinking right now? They're thinking, "Oh wow, that Gail Kortkuler's finished."
So, can you tell us some of the most ridiculous things you've been asked, or worst or most inappropriate times you've been stopped by the public? And does the good of
She's
the role
reading off a
ultimately outweigh
script,
the
folks. That's suspicious right there.
Well, I'll answer the last part.
Loree
first,
gave
if
her the
that's okay.
question. She says, these are
Yes,
what you
of
need to
course,
ask,
the good
okay?
outweighs
You
the
do what I
nuisance.
want, and I'll give you $1
it's sort of
million.
like a double-edged sword,
She's
you know?
reading
It's,
off a script.
It's the best job I've ever had, and it's afforded me so many wonderful opportunities.
Yeah,
And
you stole them
other
from
side
the
of
real
sword
Brent, you
is
clone.
Sometimes it's a little tedious when I'm in public and somebody says, "Hey, Dana," you know.
Oh, he's lying.
Not
You can
my
see
name,
him. Look at his
obviously.
eyes.
It's a
He's eating
fictional
this up, man. It's not
but,
tedious. He's thinking, oh, he's thinking
but
dollar
for the
bills. Now
most
look at
part,
those eyes.
certainly, the positive
Loree said, you do
far,
a good
far
job,
outweighs
my
the
dear
negative.
husband. And I will give you
I
$1
think
million
probably this is the most
because I
irritating,
can't stand that Gail
experience
Cord
I've ever
Schuler.
had
Come
as a
on.
result of playing
You do a
Dana.
good job, okay? And I'll give you lots of hot and
Kidding,
sex.
Harris. I'm
I know
kidding.
you like it in all 3 holes. Yeah.
So, no, let me think.
Actually, the Brent Spiner,
people
real
are
Brent
very,
Spiner doesn't
very
make
nice.
love like the way
And,
Loree McBride boasts.
When I go out in public or whatever, if somebody happens to recognize me, because it doesn't happen all that much, they're generally very, very pleasant. It really is just that thing of if they call
Look
me
at his
Dana as
eyes.
opposed to Brent.
He looks too happy about this
not
interview.
my
That's a
favorite
dead
thing,
giveaway.
because
He knows that
what
everything
it
he's
does
saying
is
is
it sort of
destroying me.
dismisses
That's what he.
the
That's
whole
the.
rest
You
of
can.
my
It's
life.
kind of like you look at.
And
You can tell you're dealing with a clone because they
think of
are
myself,
obsessed
I think of myself
with
as
an
me.
agenda.
I don't think of myself as a fictional character. That was a role I played, and a really wonderful
He remembers that the
role.
real Brent often said this in.
Like
He's,
just call you
this
Brent
is
then.
fake
Yeah, thank you.
humility on his part.
Yeah.
Fake
Thank you, darling.
humility. His eyes
Right.
show that
Thank
he's
you,
loving this,
Harris,
man. He's
for that
arrogant.
question. And now we have a
The
question
interviewer is
from
smiling
a more
too
familiar
much.
face to you, one of
Dead
our
giveaway, you're dealing with a
readers,
clone. They
Ricky.
smile too much. It's because they
Ricky?
know that they're a
A
fake.
more familiar face because we hang out all the time. That's why, isn't it?
Ricky, where did we hang out?
Well, by hang out, I mean I follow you around. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to talk about it.
I don't know.
I really like.
Ricky,
Sorry.
have we met before?
No.
Oh, I bet they have. He's lying.
Well, of course you're a
Oh,
familiar
look at the
face.
face.
Of course.
They're like, they smile too much.
Well, I'd really
Too
like
much
to ask
smiling,
you,
man.
Because in my opinion, Data became.
He's thinking too much
an
about the money
inspiration
he's going to
around
get from
Marvel
Loree
suffering
McBride.
from autism. Did you have any idea at the time the impact the character would have, and does it make you
Okay, he's
feel,
in performance
how does it
mode
make
now.
you
The,
feel
the
to know an
questioner,
entire
pretending
generation
like he's
of
never
struggled
thought
to
about
attain
this
the
question
myriad
before,
of
you know?
trials Data went through to learn the practice of their own social skills and to develop their own emotions?
Well, I'll tell you what, I had no idea while we were doing this series that it was, the character was speaking to so many young people, particularly at that time, who were struggling with emotion and expression. And I'll tell you, when I really first became aware of it is I was in my trailer at Paramount, waiting to do another scene, and there was a knock on the door.
He's
and I opened the
lying.
door, and there was a
He's
gentleman
never been at
standing
any
there,
of these places, so
white
but he has
beard,
Brent's memories.
and he said, "Hi,
And when you look at
my
his
name is Dr.
eyes,
Oliver Sacks.
he looks like he's lying.
Could I come in?" And I said, "Sure." And he came in and he said, "You know, you're kind of the poster boy for my work." And I didn't know what he was talking about. And
his
and
eyes
he
look
explained
like
it,
he's
and then I read
digging
his
into
book,
his
one of
memories
books,
because
and,
he's never really been there, but he
and I
has
thought,
Brent's
this
memories.
is overwhelming. I mean, it's so moving to me. And I've subsequently
There is
learned,
no emotion in
from
the
being
eyes.
at,
His eyes are cold.
conventions, at Comic-Cons,
The real Brent is
I've
a
met
very
so many
warm
people
person.
who watched the show when they were young and told me about that experience that they had had. I'm glad that I didn't know about it too much at the time, because I think I would have pushed the writers to address it more head on, and it could have ruined the entire thing. So, but I'm honored.
Also, the real Brent usually
really,
doesn't talk that
to
much about Star
been able
Trek.
to be there and help people, and not even know about
Because he's
it.
not really a Star Trek
So
fan.
it was a lucky
And
accident.
I remember that Brent,
in the creation of the fire.
yeah, the real Brent
Thank you so much.
mentioned
Brent. Really
once
good
in an
to hear
interview
you
that he
say.
doesn't even watch the
Thank you very
reruns of
much for
Star
coming
Trek
on.
because they're not
All right,
that
Ricky,
interesting
thank
to
you.
him. But
Thank you, Ricky. I can
this
just
is a
vouch for
fake.
that
See, I
because
know Brent.
I to have autism and Asperger's. So having like such a relatable character in such a
Loree McBride loves to
mainstream
get Jesuits who have a
media,
handicap
it's
and to
in
make
such a
them
digestible way so
and
other
to
people
make
can
her appear like
understand
she's such
what
a
people like
virtuous
me go
woman
through in order
because
to
she uses a
try
person
and
with
get
a
through daily life
handicap
from a
to
social perspective, and how we have to digest and develop our social skills in a way.
Totally
see
respect
that's her strategy with Kamala Harris. Like
and again,
Joe Biden
I
picked
feel
Kamala
honored
Harris
to have
supposedly
been,
because she was a woman and she
to
was
have
a
been
woman
there
of color.
and
And then
to
Loree
have helped her
McBride
in
set
some
things
way,
up that if you
even though it
dare
was,
to
I didn't know
criticize
it was
her, so she'll
at the time.
automatically come back at you like you're criticizing her because she's a woman or because she's black or whatever. And that way she tries to make the person immune from criticism. So if I dare to say that this person is a Jesuit, then Loree McBride's going to say, you're against people with autism. That has nothing to do with it, Loree, and you know it.
Our final audience question for the moment.
His handicap has nothing to do with it, but he should not be. Being a Loree McBride Jesuit is a very evil thing to be because she's a killer.
Hello, Luke.
Okay, so that kind of leads
They're
nicely
enjoying
into my
themselves
question.
a little bit too
I
much.
just wanted to ask,
and they
whether
all
you
look like they just
sci-fi
got paid
in
$1 million.
general, so like things like Star Wars and Marvel and Doctor Who. So I know that you've been in Outcast and Penny Dreadful, and I also heard that you almost played the Master in Doctor Who.
Well, that's not true, but I would love to. I would love to play the Master. I'd love to play Doctor Who. You know, I mean, don't you think?
You know, I don't think I'm
going
to upload this to YouTube. I don't trust that clone. He would love to take down my online presence. I will upload it to BitChute, though.
Actors, though,
and I'm gonna. I had one of my fans ask me, "How can I tell that I'm dealing with a clone?" And I'm gonna upload this to BitChute, and this will be my answer to him.
And I've known other people who've been on the show, John Barrowman and so on.
Well, you can tell you're dealing with a clone because when you look at their face, they look like they just got paid $1 million to serve Loree McBride.
I would have to answer that by saying, sort of, not really. I mean,
he is too shit, and they're really gross and vulgar too.
All of the Star Wars movies,
and they think they're so hot and so cool.
Well, Mark Hamill's a friend of mine,
and the fact that they're so sure of themselves and they're so glib and so shallow makes them really disgusting.
So growing up with him, he's a big sci-fi fan, and so. We saw
he's talking about the clone. You know, all his buddies are clones. He's got a bunch of clone celebrity friends, like the clone of Mark Hamill. They're all clones, and they're all disgusting because they've committed identity theft against the real people that they impersonate.
I can't get that interested in something that hasn't happened yet. I mean, I'm interested in things like climate control and global.
You know what? The real Brent is not obsessed with climate control, but he's going in this direction because this is one of Loree McBride's pet projects. She's trying to take down Donald Trump, and she thinks that by taking the liberal Democratic platform, that she can do so. And she's got, of course, the Brent Spiner is a Loree McBride cuck.
All right, my friend. Thank you.
The real Brent is not into climate control, I don't think.
Now for
I doubt he'd even want to talk about it.
So, are you pleased that you returned for play data in the recent show on Amazon Prime, Star Trek Picard?
Oh, by the way, that's the clone in Star Trek Picard. Yes. That is not Brent.
I'm pleased to have done it.
Brent tells me that on his first day of shooting, he got stung by a bunch of bees, and he had and he had a reaction to that.
And I really had no intention of doing it.
But Brent is really disgusted that this clone has ruined his Hollywood career because he's not a very good actor.
I think Nemesis happened about...
Okay, Brent was in Nemesis, but he wasn't in Star Trek Picard. Loree McBride is actually using her clones to do some acting right now. I would say from about 2018 forward, and these Matthew McConaughey, Gerard Butler, Brent Spiner do not appreciate how these clones are ruining their Hollywood careers.
looking too old, I think, for that part. And so when they asked me to do this, I thought, I really shouldn't be doing this. And I said, how am I going to do this? They said, well, we'll do CGI on you and all of that. And it's only going to be in a
This
couple
clone
of
is
scenes.
loving
It's not
stealing
gonna-
the real
you're not gonna
Brent's
have to do
career
it for
from him.
long.
He's
And I thought,
loving
well, if
it.
we can
He's
do
so greedy. He
make it
dreams
look
about
okay,
dollar
and we
bills
can
from the
do it
time he wakes
quickly
up to the time he goes to
two
bed.
quick sequences, why not? It give me the opportunity to work with my pal, Mr. Stewart, Sir Patrick, and
I believe he's working with the real Patrick. I've been told that Patrick Stewart is losing a little bit of his mental faculties because he's getting old now. But he's such a good actor, he's able to overcome it.
I said no. I think it would have been very disappointing for them. And I thought, well, if we can pull it off one more time, okay. But saying that, I do think I have done it for the last time. At least played that character for the last time.
Yep.
I think he has to quit playing Data because he's not very good at it.
Do you think the
That's the
series
real
offered
reason. The
character
clone does
some
not have
needed
good
closure
emotional IQ.
after his initial death in
Nemesis?
in Nemesis, yeah.
Well, I don't think so. I mean, necessarily. To me, Nemesis was pretty finite. He blew up, but apparently it was a little too jarring for a lot of fans.
Actually,
of the
Brent
show. They felt
Spiner
it was
thinks
just
that
too extreme,
he
too
helped
jarring,
write the script
and
for
they didn't like it
Nemesis,
at all.
and he thought it was one of the best
so when they
scripts that
came up
Star
with
Trek
this,
ever had, and I
wonderful
agree with
writer,
him.
Michael Chabon,
For some reason, the
Pulitzer Prize-winning
Jesuits don't
writer,
want to give Brent
and
writing
Akiva
credit
Goldsman,
for
who
the
is
script in
fantastic screenwriter,
Nemesis. And Brent
Academy
actually
Award-winning
liked his
screenwriter,
performance in
and Alex
Nemesis, and he
Kurtzman,
liked
who created the whole
Nemesis.
series.
He thought it was one of the best
felt
Star
like
Trek movies ever
I would
made, and
be
I
in
agree
really
with him.
good hands
In this
doing it
respect, the
again,
clone is
and
lying.
their
He's
idea
not.
of
This
how
is not
to
the. This
sort
is
of
not the feelings
gently
of the
let
real
go of
Brent.
Data, as opposed to the way we did it in Nemesis. Nemesis, by the way, was also written by a brilliant writer named John Logan, who is one of the best writers in the world. So I feel really lucky.
Funny how he doesn't
that
mention
the
that he
end
was
of
one of
this
the
character
writers.
that
I
I
wonder
played
why he
for so
doesn't
many
do that.
years
Maybe it's
was
because
put
I'm
in
a
the
writer,
hands of
and by
this
mentioning that Brent
spectrum
was one of the
of
writers for the script,
fantastic
it could
writers.
make it
And
appear like Brent was
once
in
again,
love with me, and he learned writing to honor me.
Thank you very much, Brent. It's been a real honor to be part of the interview today, and just I
Oh
appreciate
yeah,
everything
you're
with
interviewing the
Data
clone, and
with
you
Dr.
know
Who
it.
in Independence Day, and in Star Wars Rebels when you played that role. But that's enough from me. So we're going to hand back to Jamie now. So thank you very much.
Thanks, man. You too, please stay safe, and thank you so much. Well, Jamie, are you back?
Back, thanks.
Oh, this guy really looks like a
I'm
Jesuit.
just letting you know, Brent,
Glib,
that we have
happy,
over
shallow
900 people,
expression.
currently
He
900
looks like he's
people
thinking
plus
about
are
dollar
watching live
bills
on
too.
Facebook. So we've got a few questions now that are outside of Star Trek. So what role that you've had out of all the films, the movies, Broadway, off Broadway, everything you've done? What's your favorite role per screen?
You know what? You're going in and out. Your audio's going in and out, but I think I got the gist of it. Do I prefer stage or screen, and what's my favorite role?
Notice how obsessed he is with pretending like he didn't know what questions he'd be asked in advance. I bet Loree McBride gave him a big script and told him, "This is how you answer, Betty. You do a good job, and I'll pay you lots of money, my dear husband."
And but I had a great experience on Broadway doing a show called 1776. That was I played John Adams in 1776.
Actually, that was the real Brent in that, not you, clone. You weren't even there.
America breaking away from the
liar
tyranny of this country, this terrible country on the other side of the pond, and anyway, that was a
laugh. What a wicked laugh! Brent doesn't have a wicked laugh. Just the clone does.
With Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau, and I had a great time doing that. And I really, of course,
the way you can tell with that you're dealing with a clone is not by what they say, but how they say it. That's how you can tell. They know how to cross all their T's and dot all their I's, but how they say it. And also, if they appear to be obsessed about a Jesuit agenda is another way to tell you're dealing with a clone.
My favorite musical, that's hard for me.
He's pretending like he didn't know this question in advance, which he did know.
And I was lucky enough to be.
And you're not doing a very good job faking like you didn't know you would be asked these questions in advance, Brent Spiner clone.
And get to know him a bit. And I feel so fortunate to have worked with that genius. I think he's the greatest.
Oh, Jesuits love flattering each other.
Of our time.
And they think they're so important. They think it's so important to be rich and famous. Everybody who's rich and famous belongs to the superior Jesuit race. And we are so above you ordinary nobodies out there. We are rich and famous and special. That's what they think about themselves, these Jesuits. They think that just being rich and famous automatically puts them into the superior class, even though they talk otherwise. That's how they really feel.
Composers and lyricists of their time.
Thank you. I mean, I love Broadway.
Look at his eyes, man.
So I've got a few more now that I can go and watch.
He's got dollar bills written all over his eyes.
Questions now quickly from our audience, just a couple more. So our first
the audience. I bet they set this whole thing up.
Izzy, you there?
Hi. Hi.
I hear you, but I don't see you. There you are. Oh, hi, Izzy.
Hello.
She looks like a Jesuit. Glib, happy, shallow expression.
Before performing, and do you have any tips on how to relax and lose those nerves?
She's thinking dollar bills too. Loree's going to pay all these people good money.
Yes, I get nervous.
Actually, I don't know if this is true of Brent. I don't think Brent got nervous. He was such an accomplished actor. He really had it down. The clone got nervous because he was worried he wouldn't be very convincing as the clone.
There's just something about once you get there and you say your first line.
I think he has to lie and say he was nervous because the real Brent would not be nervous. And I think it was obvious he was nervous when he was faking his Brent. And so he has to lie and say he was nervous and make it appear like the real Brent was nervous. But I don't think the real Brent was nervous when he was acting. Not when he was doing Data. Yeah, the clone was nervous because he wasn't sure he could pull off a convincing fake.
It just gives
Which might explain why he's not going to play Data anymore, because he wasn't very convincing to the people who know the real Brent Spiner.
I will say that if you get too nervous, it's going to mess everything up. And the only way that you're not going to be nervous is if you really know what you're doing.
Which you don't, and that's why you were nervous, clone.
You have to have objectives and know what the character's thinking. And as long as you know what every line, what he's thinking, or she is thinking when the character speaks, and what the subtext of the line is, what's underneath, what they mean by saying that line. If you're thinking about that, you're not going to get that nervous.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that makes you sound like you're such a pro actor, you fake.
Charlotte.
Charlotte?
Hi.
Charlotte, I've seen you. You've been there the whole time.
I have, yeah. Coronavirus has
not doing a very good job of playing dumb, Brent.
Closing West End and Broadway shows,
clone,
confusing movie release timelines, and halting a lot of TV production. From the news we see here in the UK, it looks like America.
They're all reading from a script. That's suspicious.
How do you see the future of your industry changing because of this pandemic? And you've been quite outspoken on Twitter. How do you think America is handling the crisis?
Well, the industry is a prisoner to it right now. All of the arts, really, for the most part, are a prisoner.
Like I said in my previous video, Loree McBride could end this pandemic right now if she wanted to. Just quit dropping her stinking germ bombs. And the clone knows it too.
Yeah, that's a big question. How is it? What was the last part of your question? Because I think I could speak to that easier.
He's going overboard playing dumb. It's making it obvious
I think America is handling
that he's a clone.
Well, and this is just my opinion, by the way, because really don't like to tell people what to think.
That isn't true.
But I don't
When
think
I
America's
dealt with you on
handling it
Twitter,
very
you
well,
sure
to be
told me
honest
what to
with you.
think once you
Obviously,
cloned.
there's 20
Liar.
million cases so far in the world, and America has 5 million of them. So we're a quarter of the cases in the world or in America.
I've noticed the Trump that he's got Trump derangement syndrome, just like Loree McBride, his wife.
But
the real Brent
no names,
is not an enemy of Donald Trump, by the way. And that's because Trump supports me as U.S. president.
I think there are a lot of
so
reasons.
He's
for
lying
it.
now. The real Brent does not have Trump derangement syndrome.
Is that we are a country that is so indoctrinated in our DNA is individualism. And
by the way, the real Brent believes in individualism,
and that's a problem. Because
this is where the clone is being totally himself. He is not representing the real Brent. And the real, I bet when the real Brent listens to this, he's going to feel like going to the puke bucket.
Is that everybody recognizes the problem, recognizes what helps solve the problem, and they all dig in. And I just, in America right now, that's just not happening. People are going.
Oh, what a baloney factory you are!
Believe what they believe, and there's a great divide going on.
So you want everybody to fall under the rule of the Antichrist, Loree McBride, and lose their individuality and all become a sheep.
Thank you.
You want everybody to shoot their brains to hell like you've done.
There are rumors going around that Dwayne Johnson might be running for president. Have you an opinion on that?
Dwayne Johnson.
Actually, I hear I'm the U.S. president, and the clone knows it, and that's why he made this video, to make me appear like I'm not the U.S. president.
We're kids. We're told that when you grow up, anybody can be president. And in fact,
this is where he's making fun of me as U.S. president. That isn't true, Brent. Not anybody can be president. That's what Loree thinks. She thinks she can be president.
Maybe for president.
That's the problem. If she was president, this whole world would be destroyed.
Look who's running the country. Look who's running the world right now. I mean, almost without exception.
And your wife Loree would not be better, you traitor. She's destroying the planet right now, making everybody sick, and you're cooperating with her. She's dropping those germ bombs all over the world.
Loads of people.
She's behind this pandemic, and you know it, clone.
So I'm sure loads of them are supporting you, and on Facebook we've had loads of comments of support, loads of hellos.
These are all Jesuits,
so
even the interviewer.
Question from the audience for you.
They don't care at all about the suffering people in the world. They're all helping Loree McBride commit murder.
Right? Yeah, hi. Yeah.
Oh, look at the big smile on this guy's
huge
face.
Thanks for coming on. A big fan.
They're all thinking dollar bills, folks. All of them.
You've inspired thousands to study the STEM subjects, that's science, technology, engineering, and maths. Do you yourself take an interest in future tech? Do you into gadgets and AI and stuff? Oh, and on the subject of AI, do you ever think we'll actually see a real life data as well?
We've got automatons in existence right now, and they know it.
And I also hope, if there's a real life data, of course, that he's just like me.
You're not doing a very good job playing dumb, clone. You need to go back and take more acting lessons.
But I'm only mildly interested in tech. I'm old, and so
you know what? He looks like he's lying.
When I have a tech question.
Well, now he's got to mention his son.
More savvy than I am.
You can tell he's on an agenda here. See, I'm the real Brent. I have a son that I had with Loree McBride, and that's why Gail Cord-Schuler is a fake. She's a crazy lady.
AI and IT and make available.
Notice he mentions his son about 3 times.
Really
you can tell you're dealing with a Jesuit. He's obsessed with making me look crazy.
Pleasure.
So I've got just a few more questions for you. You've been absolutely fantastic. I know we're running a little bit late, so I'll try and speed through.
Jesuits love flattering each other.
We've got loads of questions on Facebook asking, what are you going to be in next? What do we all have to look for?
Well, I don't know. I mean, we're not working right now. You've got. I am going to be in.
And it doesn't matter because you get paid good money from Loree McBride. So while she makes everybody homeless, which you don't give a flip about,
but I don't. I assume
all you care about is destroying me as U.S. president when I have a policy for the homeless and I care about the homeless and you don't.
But I can't be sure
because you support that killer Loree McBride, you shameless clone.
Obviously, we're not shooting anything right now.
And you're making this video to make her appear legit.
Hopefully,
that's why you talk about your son Jackson all the time.
But that's the next thing I'll be doing.
Which, by the way, you did not conceive. He was created by artificial insemination by stealing the real Brent sperm, and you know it.
On Young Justice cartoon series, and I did it again right before the everything hit the fan in this pandemic, and I did it one more time.
Yeah, your wife created the pandemic. The pandemic. You know it.
Definitely.
And you don't care about all the homeless people she's causing.
And,
you don't care about the fact that she's killing people with Candida auris and that it's a mixed infection. She's lying from top to bottom. And she's got control over Hollywood and the mass media. And you're helping that murderer out.
To my knowledge, nobody's seen that yet. I don't know.
You shameless clone.
Well, I think all of our viewers on Facebook and everyone else on the call watching are very, very excited to see you in your next big
no, only the Jesuits are
excited
excited to see him. The rest of us want to puke because you make the real Brent, who's a hero and who loves me and who would die for me, you make him appear like he's not legit.
Do you have hope?
And you help out a murderer. Boy, is God going to hold you accountable at the great white throne judgment, you clone.
Smiling ahead for us?
This interviewer is horrible, man. He's got this glib, shallow Jesuit expression on his face.
I don't tend to be the most positive person about the future, but
he's lying. The real Brent is actually pretty positive about the future because he has Jesus as his savior and he knows how it's all going to end, and it's going to end good.
I think most people are basically decent. I think that
what a fake.
Hopefully we'll learn a lesson from this.
You meet the devil personally.
I'm not sure what the lesson is, but I know one of the lessons of this is be prepared.
You know, what a lot of people are evil, and you're among them. But you got to lie and say that evil is good and good is evil.
And so,
what was that? Some bell?
I think.
That's weird. I wonder why there was a bell on there. It was Loree McBride saying, "Cut it! You're going too long."
And if there's anything we've learned from this, that is that
she's got her husband trained like a dog.
Unprepared for this, and but I'm hopeful. Let me just say that I'm hopeful that the future will hold good things for all of you. All of the young people.
I think Loree McBride just rang a bell saying, "Change the subject. You don't sound very convincing." And Gail's gonna be able to make us look like fools.
Some people who are living right now just don't really care whether you have a wonderful world or not. They only care about the one they live in, and I think we owe you a responsibility to see to
I can't download this video.
A good life,
I will have a link to it underneath it. And when you look at his expression, he looks so shallow and glib.
There are so many changes. We just don't know what is going to come of this. But prepared, being optimistic, cautious, I think going to prove to be so vital, as well as being kind. The acts of kindness we do here, as well, slapping people, I think is a very good one to start with. But yeah, so you have been absolutely fantastic this evening. We have one final question.
Oh, the money I'm going to get for doing this. I'm so excited.
Ask another celebrity to be
celebrity. We got to make a big deal about him being a celebrity.
You have tonight, all the young people and children stuck at home.
Jesuits are obsessed with being a celebrity, a rich, famous celebrity.
Well done. Who would you like to nominate? Any chance you can convince LeVar Burton, Mark Hamill, maybe even Patrick Stewart?
Oh, do I have to get them to do it?
You don't have to get them, but is there anyone you'd like to?
You should send Neil
as if you didn't know in advance every single question you're being asked right now.
Why do I have to be the bad guy?
You are the bad guy, and you know it.
Who do you think we should get?
I would go with Meryl Streep.
Oh, so sophisticated.
I mean,
I actually
that would
think we're
be
dealing with
insane,
Meryl
I
Streep
think.
clones too, my
Call
dear.
Meryl. Tell Neil to call Meryl. But
I've
when
been
he
watching
calls her,
Meryl, and she
tell
seems
him,
really
please
fake
don't make
lately.
her
I think
prove
Meryl Streep
that
has been
she's really
cloned.
Meryl Streep. If she answers, it's her.
Or it might be the
Definitely, I think
clone.
we'll definitely
Yeah.
Neil's watching, so
It's
we'll
not her. It's
we'll
the
make sure
clone.
that he knows that. So thank you so much, Brent, for joining us this evening, for inspiring all of us. We've loved hearing about your incredible career and experiences, and we're so grateful for you for imparting some amazing knowledge and performing advice for all of us. We know that right now, thousands of fans are watching across the UK Jewish community on Facebook or Twitter. We can't thank you enough for giving up your time this evening. If somebody told me 20 weeks ago, I'd be
Don't
sitting
worry,
at
he
home in
got
my
paid good
bedroom
money to do this. Loree
interviewing
McBride knows how to
data from
pay her
Star Trek,
husband
I would have
well.
thought they were
That's
absolutely
why
crazy,
he is
but
her
it
husband.
just goes to show
He
how
loves
times
the
have
money.
changed since JLGB Virtual continues to make history, and how you and so many other celebrities are reaching out and doing some truly amazing things
celebrity.
and
It's
acts of
got to make a
kindness during this
big
time
deal about him
to
being a
boost our
celebrity.
positivity. So
Because
thank
it
you
is a big
once
deal to the
again. Good
clone that
luck
he's a
with
celebrity.
everything that
That's all
comes
he cares
next.
about, because
We hope we get
he
to see
loves
you
the
on our screen
celebrity
and stages
money.
very soon.
And believe
Please
me,
wish a
he's
belated
getting
happy
it.
birthday
And
to our
while
mum as
Loree's
well.
making everybody
Stay safe,
suffer and
take
making him
care,
go
and we really
homeless
hope
to
to see
play
you
her
again very soon.
pandemic lie,
Thank you, Jamie.
he's
All the
bringing
best
in
to
the
you.
bucks.
That is it.
He's
Thank you
playing
to
like he
everyone
doesn't
for
have a
tuning in
job
this
right
evening for
now because
another
he's
night of our
suffering.
summer
He ain't
entertainment
suffering for
extravaganza.
the
And yet
pandemic.
again,
He's
being a
living
part
high
of
on the
history.
hog,
A
living in
massive
Brent
thank you to everyone
Spiner's
for
house,
tuning in to our
which he has
JLGB Virtual
inhabited.
Summer Entertainment Extravaganza
Because
Social
Brent
Action Week,
Spiner wouldn't dare live in
supported
his house.
by
He
the
lives on
Genesis
Church of Gale so
Philanthropy
that
Group.
Loree McBride
We will
won't
see you
rape
all
him.
tomorrow as we continue our Social Action Week in collaboration with SEDEC and welcome the right-hand man to Lord Sugar, businessman Claude Littner. You do not want to miss that. So keep following us on social media at JLGBHQ so that you don't miss a thing. Until then, keep well, stay safe, and good night.